Essay topic: The Evils of Poverty. Points that included: praise of poverty is wrong. What poverty really is, the temptations of poverty. Is poverty compatible with high thinking? The curse of poverty. And finally, the conclusion. Poverty has been extolled by poets, prescribed by saints, and welcomed by philosophers. Again and again, we have heard it said that the poor are blessed, for they are free from the cares of riches, free from the temptations of wealth. They live plainly, but their mind is filled with noble thoughts. When one hears wise people wax lyrical over the blessings of poverty, one begins to wonder whether these good people know what poverty really means, or they are simply carried away by an unrealistic imagination. Dr. Johnson, who knew what real poverty was, spoke with contempt of the fashionable philosophers who sang the praises of a life of poverty. And that leads us to examine seriously what poverty really means. It is something very much less than competence. It is want, naked, unrelieved want. It means want of food for a growing family, want of clothes in the season of cold, want of a shelter against the inclemencies of weather, want of medical help in sickness and diseases, want of the means to carry on one's studies. Who but a hypocrite or a self deluded fool will say that such a life of want is a blessing? It is said that poverty has no temptation to vice. On the contrary, poverty is one long temptation to crimes of all kinds. The jail records will show that more people have committed crimes under the pressure of poverty than under any other single factor. The crimes of poverty are avoidable crimes for which society is in fact more to blame than the individual. It is said that the poor man who is free from distraction of the wealth is able to devote himself to high thoughts, and the example of is quoted of the estimable old Brahmin gentleman who was satisfied with soup made of tamarind leaves. Legend have a halo of romance that give them a kind of fascination. But They are legends, all the same. Personally, one hardly remembers a single instance of contented poverty. For it, a really poor man is contented with an ailing wife and hungry children. While going down the roads to extinction at the rate of 60 minutes an hour, then he must be something very much less than a man. If he takes shelter under philosophy, he is a brute. If he is stolid through sheer helplessness, he is turned into stone. Poverty is a curse. Let there be no mistake about that. The society that contemplates poverty with equanimity has lost the power of feeling. It is on the downward path to decadence. The contrast between wealth and poverty becomes glaring through their very incongruity. When people contemplate the dazzling splendor of the rich man's home, they come to acquire a sort of unspoken contempt for the drab ugliness of the poor man's cottage. Then poverty becomes an evil, and the poor man is cold shouldered or perhaps despised. This is why the poor move about furtively, apologetically, almost ashamed to push themselves into the notice of their more fortunate brethren. Comparatively, poverty is one thing and genuine poverty is another. The man comparatively poor has hope of being not so poor. It gives him the energy to struggle, the gist for action. But the genuinely poor man is in a pitiable condition. He does not know what to do or to whom to turn. Social condition are against him. He loses human dignity, self respect. He borrows money and begs and steals and then find release in death. Poverty is the curse of a capitalist society where there is very little economic justice, where those who are willing do not get work, and those who work do not eat. No one cares whether the poor die of starvation or disease or self slaughter. While they live, they are drudges who help to fill the pockets of the rich. Therefore, every thoughtful man today curses the system of capitalism that gives rise to poverty and thinks of ways and means of ending it. There was a time when the delusive maxims of religion threw over poverty a glamour of holiness and made men view it with toleration. But as capitalism increases the gulf between the rich and the poor, the ugliness of poverty becomes too palpable to be passed over Once it was supposed that poverty could, in the Gandhian way, be made to die of a rose in aromatic pain. But Gandhism in action has shown how easy it is even for saintly men to succumb to the comforts of wealth. And so the question grows more and more momentous, and the answer is writ large in the pages of recent history. Thank you.